Hi, welcome to the quiz. You will be presented with multiple choice questions, each displayed on screen for a short time. Please make sure to attempt answering all the questions. Quizzes help us to reinforce our knowledge, identify areas where we need to focus more, and improve our overall performance. Taking quizzes can also help to increase retention and make the learning process more engaging and enjoyable. With that out of the way, you can answer along on quizalto.com. The exact URL of this quiz will be in the notes down below. Let's get started. Good luck. What is the maximum number of budgets you can create in an AWS account? 20,000, 1,000, 5,000, 50. In AWS Budgets, what is a utilization in a savings plan's budget? The number of instances using savings plans. The percentage of commitment used. The total cost saved by savings plans. The percentage of instances eligible for savings plans. In AWS Budgets, what is a linked account? An account with linked budgets across services. An account in an AWS organization linked to the master account. An account linked to a specific budget. An account sharing billing with another account. Which AWS service can you use to create budgets programmatically? AWS Command Line Interface. AWS Management Console. AWS Cost Explorer. AWS Pricing Calculator. What is the purpose of planned budgets in AWS Budgets? To set budgets for future periods. To set budgets for past periods. To set budgets only for planned AWS resources. To set emergency budgets. In AWS Budgets, what does a usage budget track? Only costs associated with reserved instances. Only data transfer costs. Resource usage quantities like GB or hours. Only monetary spending on AWS services. Which AWS service integrates with AWS Budgets to provide cost anomaly detection? AWS Detective. AWS Macy. AWS Guard Duty. AWS Cost Anomaly Detection. Which AWS service can you use to track costs that contribute to AWS budgets across accounts? AWS Service Catalog. AWS Resource Groups. AWS Systems Manager. AWS Organizations. Which AWS service does AWS Budgets integrate closely with for cost tracking? AWS QuickSight. AWS Trusted Advisor. AWS CloudWatch. AWS Cost Explorer. What is the purpose of savings plans budgets in AWS budgets? To plan future savings in AWS costs. To track savings plan utilization and coverage. To suggest ways to save money on AWS. To track money saved compared to on-demand pricing. In AWS budgets, what is the purpose of tagging enforcement? To ensure resources have required tags for budgeting. To prevent modification of cost allocation tags. To ensure tags match AWS standards. To enforce tag-based access control. Which AWS service allows you to visualize the data from AWS budgets? AWS QuickSight, AWS Glue, AWS Cost Explorer, AWS Redshift. In AWS budgets, what does blended cost refer to? Cost with RI discounts shared across accounts. Cost blended across all AWS services. Cost without any discounts applied. Cost averaged over the month. How often can you set AWS budgets to send notifications? Daily, weekly, or monthly? Every 5 minutes, hourly, or daily? Bi-weekly, monthly, or quarterly? Hourly, daily, or weekly? In AWS budgets, what is a cost category? A ranking of your highest costs. A group of costs based on rules you define. A predefined AWS cost grouping. A category for sorting AWS services. What is the purpose of budget actions in AWS budgets? To manually adjust budget amounts. To automatically respond when budgets are exceeded. To create new budget reports. To undo budget alerts. Which AWS service helps ensure your AWS budgets align with your organization's policies? AWS Organizations. AWS Control Tower. AWS License Manager. AWS Firewall Manager. What types of budgets can you create in AWS budgets? Cost, usage, reservation, and savings plans. Only cost and usage. Only cost, usage, and reservation. Cost, usage, and data transfer. In AWS budgets, what does RI utilization mean in a reservation budget? The number of RIs currently active. The percentage of purchased RI time used. The total cost of all RIs. The percentage of RI costs compared to on-demand. In AWS Budgets, what does unblended cost refer to? The actual cost without spreading RI discounts. The cost without support fees. The cost without tax. The cost including all discounts. In AWS Budgets, what does a cost budget monitor? Only EC2 instance costs. Your total AWS spending. Only costs from the last 30 days. Only S3 storage costs. Which cost allocation tag type can you use with AWS Budgets? User-defined and AWS generated. Only AWS generated. Only tags applied in the last 30 days. Only user-defined. What AWS service can you use to automatically enforce budget limits set in AWS Budgets? AWS Lambda functions. AWS config rules. AWS service control policies. AWS CloudWatch alarms. What type of AWS Budgets alert notifies you when you're predicted to exceed your budget? Predictive. Forecasted. Projected. Estimated. In AWS Budgets, what does threshold refer to? The minimum amount you must spend. The percentage of budget at which to send an alert. The average daily spend. The maximum amount you can spend. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.